Well, there's a chance that we could end up having a major conflict with North Korea. Absolutely.
Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see and have not seen it. To hear what you hear and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
North Korean missile with a nuclear payload capable of striking an American city is no longer a distant hypothetical.
This morning, North Korean state-run television aired video of this week's massive live fire exercise. It shows multiple rocket launchers and artillery firing as the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, and his officers cheer them on. It happened in the same week an American nuclear-powered submarine armed with cruise missiles pulled into a South Korean port. A B-52 bomber patrolled over the Korean peninsula, and the aircraft carrier Vincent came within striking range of Pyongyang. North Koreans put out a propaganda video threatening to sink the carrier, but the fact is they would be unable to prevent a devastating attack. Despite such overwhelming firepower, experts like Senator Jack Reed of the Armed Services Committee said there are no good military options for destroying North Korea's nuclear weapons program.
There are military options, but they are risky.
Nobody knows that better than the head of the Pacific Command, Admiral Harry Harris, who has the power to destroy North Korea, but not before thousands of artillery pieces and rocket launchers could unleash a barrage on the South Korean capital.
Seoul is the most densely populated city on the planet. 25 million people in a relatively small area. Within artillery range of the DMZ.
The U.S. has Patriot anti-missile batteries in South Korea, and in the coming days, a second missile defense system called THAAD will become operational. But those are designed to shoot down guided missiles like these. They cannot defend against an old-fashioned artillery round or rocket.
Isn't it incredibly difficult to counter the 4,000 artillery pieces that the North Koreans have on the DMZ?
It is, sir, and THAAD is not designed to counter those kinds of basic weapons.
That has become one of the most controversial issues in the region, and its early deployment today took South Koreans by surprise. Hundreds gathered before dawn, throwing water bottles at the military trailers carrying sections of the missile defense system. At least 10 were reportedly injured during clashes with police. The South Korean government believes THAAD is a necessary defense against an increasingly aggressive North Korea.
And what is designed to do that? Anything?
We do not have those kinds of weapons that can counter those rockets once they're launched.
The Afghan Taliban says it will target foreign forces in its spring offensive Operation Mansouri this year. Well, in a statement, the militant group said it would employ strategies from conventional attacks to guerrilla operations. The operation is named after the group's former leader, who was killed by a U.S. drone strike last May. The announcement comes days after the group killed more than 140 people in a raid on an army base in the north of the country in one of its deadliest assaults since 2001 U.S.-led invasion.
$2.50. In Maplewood, New Jersey,
$4.35.
Tim Gianni works the register of his family-owned convenience store.
$1.50.
Just as he has since high school.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Here, we know all our customers by name. I have papers or candy, or I know what they get, and I'll put it right there so that it's ready for them, and it makes them feel good.
How do you know?
You can see when they come in, they have that smile on their face. Stella, look, one more.
One day, Gianni hopes to pass the job to a new generation, keeping it in the family.
4 for 4.
Or, at the very least,
I'm Lowe's robot helper.
Keeping it human. Other retailers have a very different dream.
You can talk to it, it talks back to you.
Can I help you find something?
This autonomous, multilingual robot is designed to help customers at the home improvement chain Lowe's get their shopping done as quickly as possible.
It's basically doing indoor mapping, and it's figuring out where it is, where you are.
Kyle Nell is executive director of Lowe's Innovation Labs.
It will actually help you find the thing you're looking for.
Follow me.
The machine is one of 22 that the company is proudly testing in Northern California.
People are like, oh my gosh, there's an autonomous robot inside of a Lowe's. Awesome.
But what may look awesome for Lowe's and many of the nation's other businesses could spell anxiety for American workers. For decades, automation has eaten up more American jobs than global trade, according to economists who warn that the job losses may be poised to accelerate.
I don't think we've begun to grapple with what that would mean for the economy if these jobs started to really go away in vast numbers.
LinkedIn managing editor Chip Cutter has been studying automation. He says cashiers and retail workers may be hit the hardest.
This is the single biggest job category in America.
That's correct.
And it could go away within the next 2 decades.
That's the fear.
At Stop and Shop in Bayonne, New Jersey, customers can be their own cashiers, scanning, bagging, and swiping their credit cards.
Then proceed to the end of the belt to bag your items.
People in line will ask me, oh, you use the scanner, do you like it? And I tell them, like, yeah, I recommend you get it because it's a lot easier to get out of the store a little quicker.
At an Amazon concept store in Seattle, sensors allow customers to shop, walk out, and pay via a wireless account.
That's the technology that a lot of people say may more resemble the future that we're going to see.
Thank you, thanks for coming in.
Do you need a wrap?
But many of the cashiers and retail workers of the world aren't buying it. They think the robot revolution is overblown.
A robot is just, they're not going to give you that personal interaction.
Did you see the other day the guy for the Cardinals struck out 17 ball players?
Martinez. That's what people want.
Judy Rubushkin works down the street at Word's bookstore.
People still like to talk to somebody. I don't think that you can replicate that.
And while Kyle Nell is excited about the future of the Lobot, he says the store has no plans to replace human workers.
Honestly and truly, the robots are just a support system.
What aisle are garage door openers?
Please select an item below.
I'm going to ask a person.
Yeah, you prefer that over the robot?
I'm going to ask a person.
Overnight flooding from heavy rain sweeping across the Midwest, leaving homes and cars completely underwater. Nearly 100 evacuations and nearly 36 rescues reported in southern Missouri.
People were a little panicked. Some refused to leave their homes.
This man barely making it out before his vehicle is submerged.
Stay away from moving water. That's our biggest problem, is people that don't believe that it's a threat, and so they try and cross it, and we end up having to go rescue them.
In Arkansas, the search for 2 missing children suspended. The 18-month-old girl and 4-year-old boy were trapped inside a truck that was swept away, their mother managing to escape. In Oklahoma, a state of emergency. Hail and heavy rain pounding the state. Rushing waters trapping customers inside this restaurant.
There's people in there.
New clashes have erupted between the Turkish army and the Syrian Kurdish militia, seen as a terrorist group by Ankara. The Turkish army claimed rockets were fired on Friday from an area in Syria controlled by the Kurdish People's Protection Unit, or YPG. It targeted a Turkish army command post in the country's southern Sanlufra province. The Turkish army said it fired back, killing 11 terrorists, and reported no casualties from their side. That was the 3rd consecutive day of clashes across the tense border. Earlier this week, the Turkish Air Force bombed a YPG target in Syria. Both the US and Russia have condemned the clashes as unacceptable.
Heading to work each day, Kong Yoo-jong always brings along at least some of the change she accumulated the previous day to buy her ticket. It's not exactly convenient, but it is a way to stop South Korea's low-denomination coins piling up.
In the end of the day, end of the travel, so you always have a bunch of the coins in your carry bag, something like that, or in your house, in the car, in your pocket, in any kind of bag, there's coins everywhere.
That's why South Korea is now trialling a scheme at certain stores across the country that aims to phase out the use of coins. Instead of receiving small coins at the counter, the money is deposited on a prepaid card like this T-Money card, widely used here in South Korea for paying for anything from a taxi to a subway train, even a carton of milk. Mobile phone bank accounts can also be used. Some store owners worry that scrapping coins may hurt the elderly, many of whom are still low-tech and coin-friendly. But overall, the trial seems well received.
The banks have been reducing staff, and anyway, they've got other jobs to do, not just changing coins. So when I go to the bank, I have to wait a long time, and that's why it's not easy to change the coins.
Convenience is one factor, cost is another. Last year alone, the government reportedly spent the equivalent of $47 million minting coins.
If you print a coin, it is more expensive than the face value of the coin. So I mean that if you print more coins, it's more expensive, and I think that more and more coins just disappear. So it will become more and more, costly to print those coins.
The trial is being conducted by the Bank of Korea, which estimates only 20% of transactions here are being settled with cash. Officials at the bank say there is a good chance the trial to phase out coins could ultimately lead to the country becoming the world's first cashless society.